Before we begin, thank you very much to David D for joining the Patreon campaign. Very appreciated. Thank you so much. You guys have been incredibly generous at a time when I know it's very hard to be generous. So I thank you so much for helping this channel and myself both survive right now. It is through your generosity that I'm able to continue to do this and keep the daily grind going. And I do appreciate you allowing me to continue because this is very enjoyable. And I hope I can keep doing it for you guys for as long as possible. So, thank you guys so much. All right. We need to talk about Rise of the Beasts because it seems like half the time I hear about it, it is because either something new came out at the retail shelf that Hasbro was not telling us was coming out, or I'm hearing about some kind of like behind the scenes thing. So, I'm going to talk about this. We're going to talk about this article that came up on the 21st. Because this echoes a lot of the concerns that I have had about this movie since the beginning. Since we first heard what this movie was doing and what it was going for, this was my concern, and it seems like it's coming to truth. So, the article titled by the article is titled by thedirect.com. It is "The next Transformers movie is a mess," claims insiders. So, what do we describe as a mess as far as a Transformers movie goes? Because we've seen The Last Knight. So, if a Transformers movie can be described as a mess, how much worse does it have to be? All right. The first new Transformers movie in 5 years hits theaters in June, but its post-production is rumored to be in disarray. I'd forgotten Bumblebee was that long ago. In Transformers Rise of the Beast, the heroic Autobots join forces with Maximals and their leader, Optimus Primal, voiced by the inimitable Rob Perlman. Inimitable. Who uses that word? Oh, screw it. Just like to defeat an evil brand of bots known as the Terrorcons. All right, Peter Cullen will reprise his role. All right, so we know all this. The new film will be bringing recast RC because I think RC has now had a different voice in all 3 movies she's appeared in. Can't really keep. It's really just like Optimus who gets to keep his voice, I think, throughout more than 2 movies. No, not many characters last more than 2 movies. What am I talking about? Rise of the Beast's predecessor, Bumblebee, was much beloved, with critics praising its heart, humor, and action, but can lightning strike twice for the rebooted Transformers brand? Well, Paramount is worried. Paramount is apparently worried about the movie they've created. So, my personal concern, if you've not heard me voice this before, my personal concern with Rise of the Beast was that instead of learning from what worked from Bumblebee and trying to adapt that into something more akin to like a larger scale movie, but still kind of keeping it kind of grounded and like easier to follow, instead they seem to have gone straight back to the Michael Bay formula of throwing in just a ton of stuff all at once and just hoping that all of it makes sense by the time the movie's edited together. They're throwing in a whole new cast of Autobots outside of Optimus and Bumblebee. We're throwing in, like, not even new Decepticons, Terrorcons, completely new sect. We're throwing in Maximals as well. So we got 4 Maximals in the movie. There's toys of Predacons, so maybe there's Predacons in the movie. I don't know at this point. It is weird. It's really weird. Like, I thought we kind of all agreed that after The Last Knight, that these convoluted messes of Transformers movies, where it just seems like they have so many ideas, but they can't pick a direction, so they just throw everything in at the same time. I thought we agreed universally that failed. I thought we universally agreed that didn't work and didn't need to be brought back. I thought we were going, okay, Bumblebee kept the cast small. It kept the heart of the story was his relationship with a human character. And then, like the character, like the villains that we present had a chance to have a much more personality and character, and they were believable as villains as a result. And that felt way better. It felt a lot better as a movie. It was coherent. It was easy to follow. The action scenes were good because they weren't overly kinetic and shot in the dark. And yeah, like Shatter makes a great villain. Shatter makes one of the best villains in Transformers, as far as I'm concerned. But it seems like all of that got put aside because they wanted to go back to the gigantic, overbloated blockbuster. And that feels like what we've got going right now. All right, so that's my personal concern. Let's see what Paramount has to say. See, according to insiders, Transformers Rise of the Beast has gone through a multitude of edits during post-production from almost a dozen different editing teams. So, that's a lot. For those who do not know, like, post-movie production, like, a dozen teams, that's a lot. That's a lot of people trying to make one movie work. If they need more than, like, a handful of teams, if they need more than one handful of teams editing this thing, that will tell you just how much they're struggling to put some kind of coherent movie together, right? It's like, I've seen like really bad movies that have like 4 directors or 4 producers credited, and like everything went wrong in that production. Everything went wrong. Let's see. They're getting a little worried about Transformers. I wanted to caution you in this draft. This is what they said. They said that Transformers has gone through close to a dozen different editing teams that have argued about different cuts of the film. So the editing teams also cannot agree on how to edit this thing together. See, co-host added that the sequel is a mess and that Paramount is, quote, trying to fix it. So, yeah, so let's see here. So, like, I got to be honest, a few weeks ago, a friend who's a source of mine who has connections with the studio and people involved in the situation told me the same thing. He heard that the movie is a mess and they're trying to fix it. So, here's the biggest thing to me about all of this is, remember, Rise of the Beast was supposed to be out a year ago. It wasn't supposed to be a 5-year wait, since Bumblebee is supposed to be a 4-year wait. And for whatever, like, blame pandemic, blame filming, blame budget, like, the film got delayed a long time, which means they had a year. They had an extra year to work on this and clean it up. Now, at that point, I don't think they were in post-production or anything, so they weren't at the editing booth trying to fix it. But at that point, you have scripts, you have storyboards, you have, directors and writers who know what they're going to do. You have an extra year to make sure all the ducks are in a row and make sure that you're creating a sensible, logical movie that's easy for audiences to watch and isn't a giant mess, right? So when you have all that extra time and you completely and utterly squander it, and even with an extra year of development time, you still cannot put together some kind of coherent movie, that's a warning sign. That's a really bad sign. All right, what else does the direct have to say? Let's see. In fact, there may be a faint hint of these behind-the-scenes troubles in marketing. The movie is due in theaters in less than 2 months, and the last full-length trailer was released in December with extremely minimal marketing since, apart from tie-in toy line from Hasbro. So we're going to talk about marketing after this. Let me finish through the article. Additionally, the Super Bowl ad was made up of recycled footage with new clips sprinkled in between, and it was actually half a movie promo, half Porsche ad. A lot of this movie has Porsche tie-ins to it. A lot of things that they are doing to promote this movie are all, air quote, sponsored by Porsche. So they are major backers on this film, which obviously pretty You'd expect that when the main character of this movie is not really Bumblebee or Optimus. It's apparently Mirage, who, yes, is a Porsche. I don't know why we don't have Jazz. We've rebooted the franchise. We could have just done Jazz, who is a Porsche, but we're doing it Mirage. It's stupid. All right, so it's not to say there's not good people, right? So Steve Caple Jr., he's the guy who directed Creed 2, so he's got actual credence as a solid director, even though he is still relatively new. And Transformers is not, as this article points out, it's not a complex movie. It's robots fighting each other. So yeah, when it's still a mess, and when even that is still not salvageable, it makes you worry. They did mention the Super Bowl ad. So we do know that there's a brand new trailer airing April 27th. So, okay, we're less than a week away from getting yet another new trailer for this movie. That's just over a month out from the movie's release. That's cutting it pretty close to have just that like the second trailer for this movie out there. So as of right now, we have just the briefest, most tiny glimpses of Rhinox and Cheetor's robot modes. We still have not seen AirRazor's robot mode. We've gotten very, very little for the human cast. Like, I barely know what humans are in this movie at this point, or why I should care about them, or why they are going to be engaging characters. It's just up in the air. I have no idea who is the star of this movie right now outside of Porsche. So that is a concern. I'm hoping the trailer addresses that and we actually find out a little bit more about the meat of this movie, which I'm not even sure Paramount knows the meat of this movie from the sound of it. All right, so what else is going on here? So, I mean, we're talking about marketing here where the trailers are very slow. And if there is a lot of confusion and a lot of disagreement in the editing process of how to cut this movie and fix it, that would explain why it's been so rare for us to get trailers and why they've been so far apart. That makes a lot more sense. It also probably makes sense why the marketing for this movie is almost avant-garde in how random and strewn out it is. Optimus Prime appearing at Coachella to introduce someone to stage. Where this is still like the weirdest thing. So, okay, fine. You're trying new advertisement methods. Okay, that's fine. I can go with that. They did a panel at South by Southwest. Okay, fine. Optimus Prime accepted a Lifetime Achievement Award from Nickelodeon. Okay, fine. I guess give it to the fictional character and not the guy who's been voicing him for 40 years. Right, fine. That seems completely fair. But no. Like, okay, Optimus Prime appearing at Coachella. That is really weird. There's more. So, yeah, so during the NCAA Men's Final Four, we had what was called a mixed reality live TV spot, where there was some augmented reality shenanigans going on with the basketball court. Where the basketball court transformed into a transformer field, and Optimus Prime and Optimus Primal rose up and transformed, and it's all like CG'd in through augmented reality tricks. Who thought of this? Who thought of doing this? And who thought of doing it in NCAA? Is there like no major sport running right now? I'm not a sports ball guy. I genuinely don't know if there's another major sport going on right now. I think baseball is happening right now. Are we back to football yet? No, we're not. So I guess we don't do football. I don't know if NBA's doing anything. I don't know. I don't care. But it is a weird choice. It's a weird choice. Now, keep in mind, it's kind of a cool thing to do, but it's a really weird choice. All right, and speaking of weird choices, I've been talking about this on the news roundups. For some reason, so much of like the bulk of the promotion for this movie has been happening in Australia. Australia's gotten these tie-ins, like the Taronga Zoo Sydney promotion campaign. Like, that is so weird. Why in Australia of all places? Nothing against my friends in Australia. Literally, I have friends in Australia. Don't be mad at me. But why? Of all places. Like, it makes no sense to me. And again, like, this was like, what was weird about this kind of promotion was it was like the first time we got good looks at like Rhinox and Cheetor ahead of anything Paramount or Hasbro showed us. That's the other weird thing about this. Like, the little things that we're getting that trickle out are coming from the weirdest places, like their Instagram stickers of some of the Maximals transforming, which is the first time we've actually got confirmation that Rhinox has a robot mode and a transformation sequence. None of the trailers show that. Nothing from Paramount or Hasbro promotional has shown that. here we are trying to introduce the Beast Wars cast into the live-action movies, and I barely know what they look like. I don't even really know what Primal looks like, because he's a flat gray humanoid that transforms into a flat gray humanoid. But yes, needless to say, like, it is weird that, like, Australia got so much of the bulk of this ad campaign, and unfortunately for them, they're going to have to wait 2 additional weeks. So it was going to release June 8th in Australia. Now it's June 22nd. So that's unfortunate, considering how much weird promotional stuff has been happening, in Australia. Now they have to wait longer. Now they have to wait even longer. Now keep in mind, the year delay also meant the same thing for the toys. So the toys have been really screwed up. Hasbro has not even acknowledged the existence of things like a new Scorponok toy. I have not heard hide nor hair of any Predacons also being in this toy line, but here one is. It's already been cited and bought in a store. This is weird to me. This is so weird. There's so much product that's been coming out lately where it's just like completely catches everybody off guard. Hasbro has not, I'm not even sure if Hasbro has officially announced even like the mainline stuff. The only thing I can remember that they announced on the live streams was the Studio series. And we've only barely, by the way, we've barely seen any of the Studio series figures, and the movie's almost coming out. So this is, again, just a little bit weird in the timing, a little bit skewed here. So, again, whether it's a weird promotional campaign, or a random release at retail that we had no idea about, it just feels like we're getting no information whatsoever about this movie or what to expect from it. Whether you're in it for the toys or in it for the film. We're completely in the dark, and it's weird. So hopefully the trailer enlightens a lot of this. Hopefully we actually get to see a lot more and actually get informed about what the movie is. But all of this, and then we throw the article in on top of it, is so concerning to me, because it's reinforcing all of these fears that I've had about the movie ever since they announced the direction and what they were doing in it. It just feels like it's going to be too much at once, too big of a budget for what it should be, and I feel like it's going to take none of the lessons from Bumblebee, and we're going to go straight back into the mess that was the last night. I'm hoping for the movie to succeed, obviously, because I want more Transformer movies. We're talking about the animated prequel movie that takes place entirely on Cybertron. That's exciting. I want to see that. ILM is the one doing all the animation for it. But I don't want to see another mess of a Transformers movie, because they were so eager to go right back, to take the goodwill from Bumblebee and go right back into overblown, over-budgeted blockbuster. And I just feel like that's what we're on the way for. But you know what? I will try to go in with optimism. I will have some faith in the film directors and the creators that they will pull something entertaining together. And, I guess in June, you'll see a review from me. I can't promise it'll be a fun one, but hey, I'll watch it. I'll tell you how it is. But for now, those are my worries, and that's what's going on with the Transformers live-action movie, mess or not. Let me know in the comments below if you're looking forward to it, if you got faith in this one, if you think the reports of it being a mess are overblown. It's really just a matter of reading everything and formulating your own opinion at this point. Mine right now is not the most optimistic, but let me know what you think below, and I will see you next time. Guys, I am facing the most powerful enemy any YouTuber can face, the algorithm, and I need your help to defeat him. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. Every time you do, we attack that algorithm and we drive it back until it can no longer defeat this channel. Thank you very much.